Hey Liliana, how's it going?
Hi Farhan, all is going good. And how's life?
Yeah,
How's the
things are
weather?
great. Things are great. It's a rainy day today, so kind of cloudy outside, kind of gray. But besides that, things are pretty nice. Just the weather is not the best, but
Mhm. Here is the same. It's
it's ra-
raining.
it's
It's
raining
raining
over
all
there.
day, and it's a little bit cold, cloudy. Not
Yeah,
nice.
it doesn't seem like I don't know why, but it got really cold and really rainy the last few days here.
Yeah.
I don't know, suddenly.
Here too. Yes, because now we are in the rainy season, so we know that we have a lot of rains during this month. So it's normal here.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I have a friend, a neighbor called Maria Eugenia, and she told me that she watched some of your classes,
Uh-huh.
and maybe she wrote to you.
On Facebook, yeah, she did. She
Hmm.
did.
Hmm. Yeah, she said that she enjoyed watching your class, that she is learning a lot from you.
Oh,
So
that's great.
maybe in January she subscribed to Calling again.
Great. No, fantastic. I'll be more than happy.
Because now she's afraid of speaking in class because she's
Really?
Cuban. So yes, she
Yeah.
said, no, I prefer to wait and maybe I take advantage of the classes, watching them, and next year I'll join calling.
Sure. No, anytime she's ready, I'll be here. I'm not planning on leaving, Colingo, so I'll be around.
Good news.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, Kwang, how's it going? Good to see you again.
Yes, I'm doing fine, thank you. How are you,
Awesome.
Titi?
Things are great. Things are great. How's life in Vietnam? How's the weather right now? I mean, I know it's night, but
It's rain, cat and dog.
it's raining cats and dogs over there. Wow.
Yeah,
Do you guys usually get a lot of rain this time of the year? Is it also the rainy season in Vietnam, Quang?
that's correct.
It is?
It's
Uh-huh.
it's going to end the rainy season now. It's going to rain, and before it's going to rain, it's rain cat and dog.
Yeah. When we say it's raining cats and dogs in English, it's a phrase that is used to. What does it mean, Quang? If it's raining cats and dogs,
Heavy rain. It's heavy
yeah,
rain.
Mhm.
extremely heavy rain, right? Like the rain that you can't even really control. Like if you're outside, you can't drive that well, or it's very, very wet. Yeah, so very heavy rain. And we have someone new in our class. Hey, Alex, how's it going?
Oh, I'm okay. How are you?
Good, good, doing well, thanks. Where are you from, Alex?
I'm from Russia.
From Russia. Welcome, welcome. What part, if you don't mind me asking?
Um, the city of Chelyabinsk.
Uh-huh. Is that in
Uh,
Western Russia?
for Russia, it's south.
Southern Russia. Okay, okay.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Russia's geography. I'm very ignorant. I just know Moscow, St. Petersburg,
Mhm.
Murmansk,
Mhm.
Vladivostok. That's it.
Mhm. Maybe you know this city because it has recently meteor fell down on our city.
Oh yeah, the thing it went. There was a big meteor that it
Mhm.
broke some windows also, right? A lot of
Yes.
windows in the city were broken. Okay,
Yeah,
I do
yeah.
I
It
do
was
recall.
a huge explosion.
Yeah, I think initially people thought it was a missile, right? Then they realized it was just I mean something natural caused it.
Yes, but our people uh, have been arguing uh, for this moment because some people think it was a missile because uh, there were lots of reasons for thinking that, but some people have another idea.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, well, hopefully nothing like that happens again, Alex. It would be a terrible thing to have a repeat of, all that damage. So, thanks for joining, guys, all of you. Um, I've seen most students actually join within the first 10 minutes, so I'm going to get started, guys. Today, we're going to be talking about articles. You know, articles may seem like an easy topic in English, but I was teaching this class yesterday, and there were a bunch of points that the students made that were very good points. And I had to really kind of look into some of those questions that they asked and figure out what the answers would be. There are many exceptions to the rules in English that we always kind of find when we learn English, and articles are no different. Articles are also a theme where you look at it and you think, yeah, okay, sounds easy, looks easy, but might not be necessarily as easy as we think, right? So as a result, if you guys have questions, please let me know during this class, and if there's something that I can't figure out, then I'll try my best to get back to you guys after I finish, after the class is over, you know, because I don't want you guys to underestimate the difficulty of anything, really. Even if it seems easy, there could be confusing points. So we'll start with that then. Hey, Anatoly, how's it going?
Hello, hello, I'm fine, thank you.
Привет.
Привет.
I know what that means. I know one word, привет, hello, right?
Yes, it is. It means hi, not hello. Hello, more formal.
Привет is hi. That's awesome. One of my friends, he was from Russia, and he is from Russia, and because I'm a very funny person, usually with my friends, I used to always say to him, "Привет, товарищ." Привет, товарищ. because I was funny, you know, it's a dumb thing. Is that how you pronounce it, товарищ, or is it товарищ?
Привет, товарищ.
Привет, товарищ. Okay. So for Kwang and Liliana, привет, товарищ means hello or hi, comrade.
Yes.
But I think товарищ is a very formal word.
Oh, it is. Okay. Interesting. I used it because we see all these movies of, you know, the Cold War movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and they have they have all the American actors acting in Russian, and they have very bad accents, you know. But I try to learn some actual Russian from my friends. So great, welcome guys, welcome. So when we look at articles, right? Articles generally have, there's only 3 words that we're looking at. We're looking at the word the or the, depending on your pronunciation, and the word a and the word an, right? These are the only 3 words that we're going to look at. But the application of these words in different contexts in English, before certain words, or when we use them in certain phrases, it can get confusing, right? So before we get to that, guys, the article that we'll talk about after we talk about articles, right? So we have articles as the grammar, and then we have an article later. That article, we will be looking at museums. A new museum opened up in the United States in Minneapolis, I think was the name of the city. Minneapolis is close to where I am. It's kind of in the north of the country, very cold place. But what's interesting about Minneapolis is it has a very large African population, people from Somalia, actually. So the East African country of Somalia, many Somalian people have settled in Minneapolis, and their children, you know, are completely Americanized. They're born here, raised here. This museum is a link to these children, a link between these children and their culture. So it's the first Somalian American museum or Somalian historical museum in the United States. So people are very optimistic that maybe other cultures will be able to design similar museums for their people. So we'll look at that as well, guys. So I guess we can start with a question to kind of get our mindset, to get us thinking about stuff. What is the coolest museum you guys have been to in terms of maybe you went there and you were just so amazed by what you saw? Did you guys have any experiences like this? Let's start with Alex, actually, on the left.
With me? Okay, I will say some words about Hermitage. It's a St. Petersburg museum. I think maybe you have been there.
I haven't been there. Somebody else, maybe? Anatoly, have you been there?
Sorry,
Maybe not.
which museum?
I said about St. Petersburg
Ah, yes. Hmm.
Hermitage.
Yes, Hermitage. Yes, I was there.
And what makes this museum so cool, guys? I have no idea anything about it. Or Alex, why do you think it's cool?
Oh, for me it was cool to explore and I watched some really interesting things about different periods uh, of our history.
Hmm. So it's a museum that focuses more on history then, right? Because there are some museums that are science museums also, where they focus on the history of like animals and the history of, you know, science. But so this heritage museum is museum of like Russian history, it seems like, right?
Yeah, correct.
Nice, interesting. That's cool. I've never heard of it, but I know St. Petersburg has a lot of museums. I think they're very beautiful places. Anatoly, what about you? What's the coolest museum you visited before?
Uh, Maybe I just remember about um, Stalin's bunker in the city Samara. I share my screen now.
Yeah.
You can see it is museum. It is museum. Yes, underground. During the Second War, uh, uh, there was time when expected that German uh, soldiers could be entered to Moscow, and in that case, our authority from that time uh, built this bunker
Hmm.
down in the
Underground,
underground.
right?
Underground,
Exactly.
yes.
Underground, yeah.
Yes, and but in fact, Stalin have never been in that museum,
Oh, wow.
in that bunker, because as you know, our capital city state, and I mean Germany soldiers don't didn't enter to the Moscow,
Hmm.
and I remember one fact from that museum which was very memorable for me. Um, People, I mean employees who worked there, they wrote on the paper protocol and description about what about tasks which could Stalin or other authority people from authority could give, and in that place not Stalin but other powerful people gave some instruction, and they couldn't turn their heads more than maybe 15%.
Wow.
I mean, angle. If somebody broke that rule, he or he in that case needed to be killed.
No way.
Yes, it was very strange and scary information from guide, which described us very tough rules of that time.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Anatoly, that's great, fantastic. I had no idea Stalin's bunker. You know, when we learn about history, World War II especially, we hear a lot about Hitler's bunker. Hitler had this bunker that he was hiding in. He actually, I think, he killed himself in that bunker also, but had no idea that Stalin had a similar bunker that he never actually used, but that they built for him, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. A lot of great history. Thanks a lot for sharing on it. That was great. I love the pictures too. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Liliana, what about you? You've seen examples of some of these great museums in Russia. Have you been to a cool museum?
I never have been. I haven't been in Russia, but I went to Paris and I visited the Louvre Museum.
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
Yeah, one of the most beautiful, right, in the
Yeah,
world?
yes,
Uh-huh.
and the size of the paintings, the classical paintings of this famous painter at this time.
Uh-huh.
Mm, the way that they play with the colors, with the light and shadows, and the perfection in human bodies that they painted.
Mm-hmm.
I was really surprised, and was one of my dreams to visit this museum. And yes, I shocking. I'm shocked.
I was
Uh,
shocked. Uh-huh. I was
I
shocked.
was shocked
Uh-huh.
when
Yeah.
I see when I saw this painting and the size of the painting is huge. For
Yeah.
example, the Mona Lisa, I think it's bigger than it actually is. It's not as big as I thought before. But anyways, it's a strange um, uh, painting that is very interesting to see it. But you have we were lucky because at this
Uh-huh.
time there weren't a lot of people seeing Mona Lisa, so we can. They have a lot. How can I say that? Thin or strong or glass before.
Yeah, like plexiglass, maybe
Yes, or
plexiglass.
safe glass, I think.
Yeah, safety glass or
Uh,
yeah, something like that. Sure.
And it's forbidden to take pictures about Mona
Hmm.
Lisa. But anyway, was great to see it.
That's awesome. Yeah, the Louvre is definitely internationally known for the amazing quality of the stuff inside.
Mm.
And Kwong, last but not least, what was maybe the most interesting or fascinating, cool museum that you have been to?
Yeah. To be honest, I've rarely visit museum in my
Uh-huh.
country,
Uh-huh.
but I'm going to talk about the coolest museum that I have visited in 2006, and it's Ho Chi Minh Mausoleum in Hanoi capital. Yes. It's it show the historical things that President Ho Chi Minh's work um, and work in the own time. He
Mm-hmm.
and for example, books, pens, and shoes, and the memorable things that he worked for Communist Party. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
it's in the center of Hanoi. That's all, teacher.
No, that's awesome. There are a lot of museums that celebrate individuals, right? We see sometimes maybe national heroes, right? So definitely for Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh was probably considered a very important person in the history of the country. Other countries here, we have like Washington Memorial, Lincoln Memorial, just statues, not really museums, but still kind of very big celebrations of their lives, right? A lot of interesting stuff. So awesome, guys! Thanks for sharing. What I enjoyed about your descriptions, all of you guys used a lot of articles, right? So really, you guys know how to use articles already. We might not need to focus so much on the details as I review some of these points. But once again, any questions that come up, if you think I'm saying something that is confusing or I'm confusing you, let me know immediately because I did this class yesterday and I got confused by something that someone asked. It was a very good question. So I want to be confused if you guys can make me confused. So let's get started then, guys. So looking at articles, right? So the first article that we are going to look at is the, or the, however you want to pronounce it. Americans, I think, pronounce it the more and more commonly. But So we use the for, you know, nouns that are generally known to everybody that we don't really have to specifically mention things, right? It's used very often in English, you know. I mean, it's the most general way that we talk about nouns. If people know about it and we're talking about it, then we use the, right? So, for example, the teacher at my school decided to throw a party, right? The teacher at my school decided to throw a party. If people know about this teacher, then, you know, we can say the teacher, right? When we talk about a new topic that we are introducing, right? So I can say something like, then the girl said to me, you know, what's going on? Whatever, right? I'm just making a conversation. So the girl said to me, the man said, you know, the teacher threw a party, or, you know, any really, I mean, it's so hard to define because it's used so often, right? In English, we use the all the time. I mean, it's, you know, it's a general article that we put before singular and plural nouns, right? The children, the child, right? The man, the men, right? It doesn't change form before singular or plural nouns, and depends fully on the context. If you're talking about someone for the first time, you know, you can say, I was in the parking lot, right? And I saw the man walking in my direction, right? Many times I like to think of these examples as maybe you're telling somebody what happened. Maybe you're talking to the police, right? I was in the parking lot. Okay, you never talked about a parking lot before, so you're saying the parking lot. You're introducing a new topic. And I saw the man walking towards me, and he was driving in, you know, there was a blue car next to him that, you know, whatever was the situation. You can describe a scenario to somebody, and you can use articles in that sense, right? Really, I feel like there's no point in exercising this point because we can say any noun, right? The children, the book, the museum. You know, when I asked the question to you guys a little while ago, I said, what was the coolest museum that you've been to, right? Or because in that sense, remember when we use superlatives in English, we always have the and then the adjective that ends in est or iest, right? So what was the best food you ever ate, the coolest place you ever visited, right? We use the for many, many, many different types of verbs, and it's really general, right? So if we move away from the general nature of the, there are some specific places that we have to use the, right? So if we are talking about anything really in geography, if you're talking about specific places on Earth, the Pacific Ocean, the Ural Mountains, you know, in Russia, or the Ural Mountains, I don't know how the right pronunciation is, you know, the Gobi Desert, right? Deserts, forests, areas of the world that are on a map, really. A lot of those we use the before we talk about them, right? Rivers, so, you know, the river Volga, right? The river whatever, you know, the river, what's the other river, really big one in Europe? Like the Rhine, right? The river Rhine in Germany, right? So we can say the Rhine, the Nile, the Volga. We don't even, I'm sorry, Liliana, go ahead.
The Seine River.
Yeah, the Seine or Seine, I don't even know how to pronounce it, but yeah, it's one of those French rivers, right? Yeah, the Rhine, the Seine, the Volga, right? Rivers, a lot of different places like that. Oceans, right? We have to use the. When we are talking about mountain ranges like the Swiss Alps, the Rocky Mountains, the Andes Mountains, yeah, absolutely. Specific locations like peninsulas, right? So you guys have, no, actually peninsulas are kind of difficult, but like the Arabian Peninsula, or maybe there is an island or maybe there's a peninsula in Russia, I don't know, like maybe some location. You know, the Arctic Ocean, right, is pretty close by. The Gulf of Finland is close to like Murmansk, you know, the Gulf of Finland, right? These bodies of water, we use the. Islands, we use the Hawaiian Islands, right? The I don't know, the Indonesian islands, right? So islands that are when we're talking about countries that are islands or places like that, we use the specific names of countries. So if I just want to say America, I can say America, or Canada, I can say Canada. But if I want to say the United States of America, I have to say the United States of America, right? The People's Republic of China, right? Not China, but the People's Republic of China, if I want to use the formal official name, right?
You say the People's Republic?
The People's Republic of China.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think that's the official name of China on like documents and things like that. Yeah,
The
People's
Republic of Ireland?
The Republic of Ireland. Yeah, exactly. The Kingdom of Spain, right? Like there's all these. Every country has a very specific name. Those have to use the. The United Kingdom. Yeah, absolutely. You know the actual formal name of the United Kingdom is the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. It's a very long name.
Northern Ireland.
Yeah, but people say the United Kingdom all the time. There's no difference. You know, Canada is the Dominion of Canada.
Really?
Yeah.
Australia?
Australia is, I think, the federal. I don't know actually. Honestly, I have no idea what Australia is. Brazil is the Federal Republic of Brazil.
And my country is the Republic of Colombia.
Yeah, exactly. So we use that for those, right? We also, when we talk about equator, like lines on the map, right? The equator, the Tropic of Cancer, the Tropic of Capricorn, the international date line, right? The Greenwich Meridian, right? That line that runs through England that says the GMT line, right? Hours in all over the world are mapped according to the Greenwich Meridian, right? So lines on maps, we also use the. Last but not least, when we're talking about groups of people, classes of people, the rich, the poor, the old, the young, the sick, the healthy, right? In a lot of health classes, we talk about, you know, maybe people like the diabetic, right? We talk about people who have certain conditions, you know. So classes of people, we also use the. So the we really use for a ton of different ways in English, guys. Tons of different ways. Do you guys have? Yeah, go ahead, Liliana. I'm sorry.
The Navy, the police.
Yeah, the Navy, the police, right? Official organizations, right? Official organizations. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, right? The Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA. Many, many, many official names of things we use the, right? I'm sorry?
And when you talk about planets, you don't say the, no? Jupiter, Saturn.
Yeah, you don't have to use the when we talk about planets, right? It's interesting. It's one of those exceptions. So they are sending a moon to Mars, or they're sending a satellite to Mars, right? They're sending a satellite to the. But see, we say it for the moon.
And the sun.
And the sun, because those are two kind of specific places, specific things in space that we know when we say the moon, we're talking about our moon, right? Or the sun, we're talking about our sun. So we use the for those, right? The sun is really bright today, right? Or the moon is so beautiful today, right? We always use the before sun and moon, absolutely. Absolutely, that's a great example. So I'm going to ask you guys to make a sentence with the. It's going to be very, very easy, very quick. Let's start with Kwang, actually, if you don't mind. Kwang on the right. And then we'll go all the way to Alex.
Okay, teacher. I live near the sea.
Fantastic. I live near the sea, right? You can be more specific, you can be less specific, it doesn't matter. I live near the sea. Great job. Liliana, another example from you, please.
Colombia is the only country in South America that have two oceans.
Fantastic. Colombia is the only country in South America that has two oceans, right? Or that has access to two oceans, maybe, right? Yeah, fantastic. The only country, right? What about Anatoly? What about an example from you, please?
I'm thinking now about famous phrase of Prince Hamlet: "To be or not to be, that is the question."
Fantastic.
Why that Hamlet used the?
I guess because he was trying to draw emphasis to the, like, a specific question, right? Because we're talking about, you know, to be or not to be, that is the question. The alternative would be, that is a question, right? But when we say, if we say to be or not to be, that is a question, then really it's not drawing, it's not making it look specific, right? If you say something is the question, the matter at hand, people sometimes we say the matter at hand, or, the matter at hand, or that is the question. These phrases mean that they are the most important, right? They deserve our focus, they deserve our attention. So,
Yes, no.
so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he's trying to draw attention to that question, so he says the question, right?
Yes.
A question could be any question, really. So maybe that's why. But Shakespeare is crazy though. Shakespeare, when he wrote that kind of stuff, I don't know what he was thinking. He's a crazy guy. Alex, last but not least, from you, please.
She's looking at the sun.
She is looking at the sun. Yeah, probably it's good not to do that without sunglasses, right? You might burn your eyes, or something might happen. Yeah, it is very dangerous, right? So you should not look directly at the sun, right? Maybe indirectly or through a telescope or something. So, great guys. Any questions about the so far?
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
For example, if I meet you on the street and I said, yesterday I went to, for example, say something to the Bruce Springsteen concert or to Bruce Springsteen concert. Okay.
Yesterday I went to the Bruce Springsteen concert would be a perfect way of saying it. Yeah, because you're talking specifically about the concert that people know about, right? Because let's say I have no idea who Bruce Springsteen is, right? Then it's not going to make sense if you tell me, yesterday I went to the Bruce Springsteen concert. I have to know, oh, where was it? Bogota? Was it in Cali? Like, what location, right? But when we talk about things that are specific enough and also known to people, right? You're telling someone about something that people know about. I went to the mall yesterday. Someone who lives in your city, or someone in your family, or someone in your friend circle, they would know. Okay, the mall means that mall, or maybe the mall near her house, right? Something like that.
And what happened if I say I went to Bruce Springsteen concert without the article the? It's wrong?
In the grammatical sense, it would be, right? Because I went to Bruce... No, actually, you can say I went to Bruce Springsteen's concert and make it possessive.
Possessive.
That would work. But if you don't make it possessive, and if you're just mentioning the guy's name, then we should put the in front, right? So, I went to the George Lucas movie. Or I went to George Lucas's movie. Or you can say, I went to the new Star Wars movie. I saw the new Star Wars movie, right? So we have to use the when we are talking, when there's no possession involved.
And if I, sorry for asking a lot of questions.
No, that's fine.
I went to a concert, and then you asked me what concert did you attend or something like that. So then I said the name. I went to the. But
Absolutely.
After you asked me at the beginning,
Absolutely.
I can say a concert. Yes.
Absolutely. Perfect. I went to a concert. Oh, which one? Oh, I went to the Bruce Springsteen concert. Right? Fantastic. Because when you say a, you really are being very vague, right? You're not giving any details. I went to a concert. Okay, it could have been anything. It could have been a concert by Mozart, or a classical concert, or maybe a traditional concert. Nobody knows, right? When you ask this, and then when I ask, oh, which concert? I went to the Bruce Springsteen concert, or I went to the Beatles concert, whatever. Right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So really, this is why this stuff is crazy, because there's really no rule. It depends so much more on the context. Like, who are you speaking to? Do they know your situation? Do they understand your situation? Right? That's what really makes things. Yeah, the end, right?
Yes. In the last part of movie, we also see the end.
Yeah, because you're concluding it, right? This is the end to this movie, right? You're showing specificity. This is the end of this lecture. This is the end of this movie. This is the end of the book, right? A end is just any end. It doesn't matter. It's not drawing specificity.
At
right?
the beginning, no? At the beginning of.
At the beginning, exactly. We say the same thing, right? At the beginning of something, right? At the beginning of a book. At the beginning of the chapter, right? At the beginning of the lecture, the movie, whatever. If you say at the beginning of a movie, that could be the beginning of any movie, right? You're not being specific. So I like how you guys are using these other examples. It's really good because the next category that we're going to talk about is a and an, right? And what's the difference? So a, we are talking about really, we're not making any specific information. We're not drawing any specific information from when we say a, right? We are just using it before something that we are talking about that the other people might not know about, right? I saw a girl on the street today. I saw a nicely dressed man today, right? Somebody was wearing a nice suit. He was dressed very nicely. I saw a nicely dressed man today. I saw a cat on the street today, right? I saw a dog on the road today, right? Whatever. I mean, we're not being specific, right? And we can use them before, just like we saw with the, we can use them before singular nouns, plural nouns, right? A cat. Oh, I'm sorry, actually, we don't use them before plural nouns. I made a mistake. We use them just before singular nouns, right? So I saw a cat, I saw a dog, I saw a person, right? We can also use them before number words, right? So I saw a couple walking down the street, right? I bought 100 candies from the store, right? He won $1 million, right? So before any number words, 100, million, couple means two, right? A couple or whatever, we use or a. We use a before those words, right? So, and when we're talking about something that there's no specificity, right? I saw a movie today. Oh, what movie? Oh, I saw the Star Wars movie, right? That's when you're drawing specificity. A is just no specificity whatsoever, right? So let's make a sentence, guys, with a, and then, oh, actually, before we do that, when do we use an? And we use when the noun that follows starts with a vowel, right? But there are a couple of exceptions, right? So some words that start with U, right, that start with the letter U, do not use an, even though U is a vowel, right? So what are the vowels in English? The vowels are A, E, I, O, and U. Yeah, really, right? Those are it. But for some of the U vowels, we don't actually use an, right? And the difference is kind of crazy. Like if you're pronouncing a word that starts with U, and it begins, when you pronounce it, if it has a U sound, then we don't use an, right? Let me give you guys an example. So the word uniform, right? Uniform or unicorn or unilateral, like all of these words, at the beginning of the word we make a U sound. Uniform, unicorn, unilateral, right? United Nations, right? Whatever. University, yeah. University is another great one, right? We don't say an university. We say, I went to a university. I attended a university, right? Or, see, now I'm getting confused. Give me 1 second. I'm going to think of an example, maybe. I went to a university. Yeah, you know, we don't use an. We don't use an before these. But other words that have U, for example, what's another word that starts with U that doesn't have? Okay, like umbrella. Umbrella, right? An umbrella. Because the sound the U makes an sound. Umbrella. Right? It's not making a U sound like unicorn, unilateral, United Nations, university. Right? So that's why we have a in front of those other words and an in front of the ones that make an sound. So an umbrella. What's another? Umbrella is kind of easy to remember. Maybe there's.
And when you say an easy when you put UN.
Yeah, unlikely. Like maybe unlikely, right? Like this is an unlikely result. An unlikely result, because the it makes an sound, right? Unlikely, an unlikely result. Umpire, like in a game, right? There's an umpire. He is an umpire. an umpire, right? So that's a weird kind of exception to the rule. So now that you guys know about this, a and an, let's make one sentence each, guys, using a and an. Actually, choose either one. You guys, you can choose a, you can choose an. Just make one sentence. Let's start with Alex, actually, on the left, if you don't mind, Alex.
Okay. I think I think there is a message for you.
I think there is a message for you. Fantastic. I think there is a message for you, right? Not being specific. A message. Who knows what it is, right? Great, great. Anatoly, what about you?
What a wonderful day was yesterday. Wonderful.
Fantastic. What a wonderful day it was yesterday. And what was the last part, Anatoly? I'm sorry.
Yes, I said that phrase.
Fantastic. What a wonderful day it was yesterday. Or you walk outside. What a beautiful day. Right? That's more like a phrase, really, because you're talking. Even though you're talking about today and the specific day, we use a in English, right? So another one of those exceptions, right? If you're talking about the, like if you say "what the beautiful day," it doesn't work. So it's kind of like a phrase that we use in English, right? What a beautiful day. It works perfectly. It works perfectly. Liliana, something from you too, please.
Okay, I'm looking through the window and I saw a black car in front of my neighbor's house.
Fantastic. I was looking out the window. Okay.
Out, not through.
Or you can say through too, actually. You can say through, actually, Liliana. That's my mistake because sometimes in the English, like in the phrasal verb world, looking out a window also works. Looking through a window also works. Both of them are perfect. Yeah. So I was looking through the window and I saw. So the window, people know. Okay, maybe the window to your room, maybe the window to your house, something, right? And I saw a black car. Who knows what it is, right? You're not being specific. A black car in front of my neighbor's house, right? Fantastic. Great job. Great job. Kwang, another example from you, please.
Okay, teacher. This is a desk that I usually work on it.
This is a desk that I usually work, or did you say and I usually work on it? What was the second part, Kwang? This is a desk, and then the next part?
That I usually work on it. Yeah.
So we can say this is a desk that I usually work on, right? We don't need the it at the end, right? Because we are already mentioning the object before, so you can, well, you know, Kwang, you bring a great point, because I was told by my teachers when I was a kid, never end a sentence with a preposition, right? So, for example, work on it. It is a preposition. No, it's not. You're right, Kwang. Let's see. This is a desk, and I usually work on it. You're right, Kwang. Fantastic. Or you can say that I usually work on it, or and I usually work on it, right? This is a desk, and I usually work on it, right? It's what you write on or use, right? This is a desk, that or and I usually work on it, right? Yeah, no, Liliana, what I was saying before was when I was a kid, a lot of kids make the mistake they end the sentence with a preposition. So they end a sentence with on or in, and it's not considered proper. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to say, put it on, or like maybe somebody asks you to do something. You should always avoid ending a sentence with a preposition. But my teachers were crazy. They wanted me to know like formal English, so we don't use formal English in normal conversation. But anyway.
Farhan,
Yes.
may I ask you something?
Yeah, absolutely.
For example, if I say I am going to the university or to university without that, because here we always say in Spanish, you know, no, we always use the article before the name, before universities or schools. Even we don't mention the name of the university, but we always say the university. But in English, you say I'm going to university without the article the.
No, actually, we do use the, just like in Spanish. So, vamos a ir a la universidad, we go to the university, right? So, la and the, absolutely, it works the same way in English, yeah. If you say we are going to university, you know what that sounds like? That sounds British, right? British people, I have heard them say things like, I'm going to university,
Yes, yes, because my friend told me that they say I'm going to school, going to university. So
Yeah,
I'm a little bit confused about
we say going to school all the time in English. In the
it.
US, we say I'm going to school, but we never say I'm going to university. I'm going to the university. Or I'm headed to college. You can say I'm headed to college, or I'm going to college. College we can say without the, but university we always use the. I don't know why.
Only with university?
Yeah, yeah.
Because you don't use the article the.
No, you can use I'm going to college. He's going to college.
And school
Right.
is the same?
School is the same. Yeah, school and college are the same, but university we always use the. Not sure why.
Okay.
Not sure why. Yeah.
Thanks.
You can say, for example, I work at the college. Sure, okay. I work at the, you can say I work at college, like I have a college job, right? I work at college. But when it comes to university, I work at the university, right? Unless you're talking about a specific college, you know, that somebody knows about, then you can say I work at the college, right? Like the college down the street, the college near my house, right? Something like that people know about. So this entire lesson, guys, is based so much on context. Who you're talking to, what you're talking about, do they know about it, do they not know about it? Really, that's how articles work. And that's not always a clear-cut answer. So any questions, guys, about this lesson? We looked at the, a, and some other examples of those. The you, for example, umbrella, unlikely, those kind of words. Any questions about any of that stuff?
No, it's clear.
Okay, sweet, sweet. Awesome, guys. So let me, real quick, let's take a look at this article. We don't have a ton of time, but let's see what we can learn about this new museum in Minneapolis, which is focusing on Somalian immigrants who have moved to the United States. So it's kind of like a cultural heritage kind of museum, something that people in that part of the country are very excited about, I think. So let's take a look. Let me screen share. So let's see. NPR News, this is Minnesota Public Radio. Minnesota is the state, and Minneapolis is the city. So Minneapolis. The first time Abdi Mohamud stopped by the Somali Artifact and Cultural Museum, the place was definitely a work in progress. A camel bell here, a goatskin milk container there. Still, the 25-year-old was elated. Elated means when someone's very happy, right? Like many Somalis in Minnesota, he'll be at the museum Saturday when it opens. It will be the world's only Somali cultural museum. A national gallery once existed in Mogadishu, the capital of Somalia, but years of war led to its destruction. The new Twin Cities Museum aims to fill the void. So Twin Cities, guys, this is just in reference to Minneapolis, the city in Minnesota. There's a city next to Minneapolis called St. Paul. St. Paul and Minneapolis are known as the Twin Cities all over the U.S. So instead of saying Minneapolis and St. Paul, people just say the Twin Cities. So it's a specific pair of cities. As Mohamud recently studied photographs on the museum's walls, he asked the gallery director again and again if the images are truly of Somalia. And he kept saying, "These things, they were there, but now they are not there," Mohamud recalled. "These beautiful places are destroyed places. It's anarchy. The people living there have a horrible life. It is something I can't imagine how it happened." Born in Somalia, Mohamud and his family fled the country's civil war when he was 9. Young Somali Americans like him inspired founder Osman Ali, so this is the guy who started this museum. They inspired founder Osman Ali to develop the museum. The Twin Cities businessman and restaurant owner feared they were losing all ties to their heritage. "I came with this idea to create a new base for these people living out of their country to let them study their culture," Ali said. For the past week, Ali and outreach director Sarah Larson have been busy organizing artifacts. "This is the old city of Mogadishu," Ali said of a historical photograph. "Maybe we should put these in the front room with a sign that says our statues and monuments are being lost from the war and say this is why this museum exists," responded Larson. "Exactly," Ali said. The Somali Artifact and Cultural Museum showcases the culture of the country's nomads, right? What is a nomad? A nomad is a person who doesn't live in one place. They move around a lot. So, for example, in the deserts in Arabia, there are a lot of nomads that just travel. They don't have a place that they stay in all the time. They just are always moving. There are traditional rugs and ancient writing tablets and lots of items made from animal skins. This is all what they used for their daily life, Ali said. So, he goes on and just talks about like some of the other artifacts they have. So these are some bells, a lot of kind of cultural events, cultural artifacts, pieces of the Somali culture that for the first time are being combined and put into a museum, right? And I mean, you can see on this picture here, there's, pots and kind of other artifacts, right? It's a celebration of the country's culture, and people are excited because the Twin Cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul, have the largest population of Somalians, I think, outside Somalia. A huge population of Somalians in a very kind of big, very large community. So, what do you guys think about this museum? Maybe you guys have an interesting reaction to what's going on, and if it's a good thing, a bad thing that they're trying to save their culture or learn about their culture. What do you think, Alex?
I think it's a really interesting article about Somali artifact and cultural museum.
Is it a good thing? Like, if you had the chance, do you know a lot about Somalia, Alex? Because I don't.
I think why not?
Yeah, right. We should maybe learn about these countries, right? Maybe if I was in Minnesota or Minneapolis, I would like to visit. Would you like to visit as well, Alex, if you had the chance?
Yes, if I have a chance, I would like to visit.
Yeah, right. And I mean, I think when it comes to cultures that are a lot less known, like Somalian culture, the average American doesn't know anything about Somalia. Maybe the only thing they know about Somalia is that there are a lot of terrorists there, right? Or something kind of a very big generalization of the country, right? So,
Maybe.
yeah, they don't know about the people, the culture, the language, all those kinds of things. So I think it's a nice thing. What about you, Anatoly? What do you think about making a museum to celebrate the culture?
Yes, it is a very interesting article and a very good idea to create museums like that, and I like it.
Yeah. Do you think there's a risk, Anatoly and Alex also? I mean, I don't know how Somalia is viewed in Russia, but do you think there's a chance that Somalia will just lose all of this culture because of all the war and hardship that the people there have? Do you think it's a possibility?
Yes, I think it is possible, and thanks people like this guy who created that museum. He helped to keep the culture of
Absolutely.
Somali.
Yeah, he's keeping the culture alive, right? He's working so people don't forget these things, right? Especially the children, right? I mean, Alex, is there maybe because you mentioned at the beginning of the class that there's this heritage museum in St. Petersburg. Do you think young people care a lot about their history as much, or is the young generation as interested in their history and their culture as maybe the older generation?
I think some of young generation think about the history, and also they can visit that kind of museum by one moment, by behind back the young generation.
So there is value, right? And maybe this is something that the young people who don't care about museums, maybe they still have a chance to learn if they ever begin to care. It allows that opportunity. There are a lot of Russians here too. I know there are specific communities of Russians, but I haven't heard about a Russian American museum yet. Maybe it'd be a nice idea, like many Russians who move to the United States, their children probably speak Russian, but they don't know a lot about the history of the country. So I think it would be a nice idea, you know, in a similar sense. Maybe post-Soviet Russia more because, you know, since 1991, maybe it would be very nice to see what's happened. Liliana, what about you? Do you think that this was a nice idea, or what do you think about the article?
Yes, I agree. I think it's nice that people from Somalia are interested in knowing about their history, their cultural customs, because I think the new generation
Mm-hmm.
aren't interested in knowing about their countries. So they are only interested in technology and the new apps and new devices. But
Yeah.
they barely know about the history.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a great idea because they are involved or they know how was the important facts of its history.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Or of their history, right? Of their
Their,
history, the
their, their
people.
history, yes.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think that's a great idea. And do you notice that, for example, like, do most Colombian teenagers or young people, do they care about like
No,
Simon Bolivar and
no,
all
they,
those?
no, they don't care about history.
Really?
They only are interested in knowing about the new technology, the new devices,
Yeah.
only to yes to read about technology. The rest they don't care about it.
You know,
Exactly.
one interesting way that maybe museums can attract young people is to include technology in museums, right? I mean, a lot of new museums, they have like, when you're looking at something on the wall, there's an iPad right there, and you can just like, you can maybe listen to somebody speaking about that item, or there's more pictures that you can look at, you know, digitally look at pictures. The most like expensive museums in the U.S., they have like, you walk in and they give you some headphones and you walk around and just press a button and it's recorded what they tell you, you know. So it's fascinating stuff, yeah. I mean, especially I think if maybe the Somalian Museum, if they get money, right, if they can raise some money, then they can include that technology in their museum and more people would visit. Like maybe right now, like I live 5 hours from Minneapolis, so I wouldn't drive to Minneapolis just for this museum. You
Yeah.
know, I'm not Somalian, I don't really care, right? See you later, Kwang. So it's one of those things that I would really maybe not worry about, but if it becomes an attraction, like it has the digital stuff, it has the technology as well, then people might actually say, "Wow, I want to check this place out." You know,
Yeah.
it attracts a lot
They
of attention.
catch yes teenagers or young people attention. Yeah,
Yeah,
but I think it's important. No, I don't know. It's important that people or young people know about his history. Can I say his
yeah, know
history?
about history. Yeah,
Yes, because I think it's an interesting topic to talk about. And on internet, they can find on Google, they can find anything about history.
absolutely, absolutely. And I think especially for a country that's so destroyed, right? I mean, there's no ability for these people to go back to Somalia, right? Like if I want to visit like Russia to learn about Russian history, I can go to Russia, right? Maybe I'll face some problems, you know, initially, maybe with like the visa or something. But I mean, once I get there, whatever, right? But Somalia it's a war zone. I mean, you might die if you go there because somebody is fighting in the street, you know? So that's why it's even more special that, you know, this person is doing all this stuff. Alex and Anatoly, last question for you guys. I mean, do you think including technology would help in bringing people? Have you guys seen this in Russia? Maybe the Heritage Museum, these other museums, are they including technology to attract people?
Yes. Go on, please.
Yes, I think it is very important and gives us lots of possibility to be involved.
Yeah, I think so too. It makes the experience more dynamic also, right? You're inside the museum, you're enjoying more than just what you see. You have technology also helping you. And Alex as well, please go ahead.
I would say somewhat it's a good idea to involve new young generation by modern technologies because young people are really only interested only internet, Google. So
Yeah, they're not interested in the stuff that's really more, I guess, more traditional, right? And if you guys are interested, I think it's actually really nice. The website for this museum is this museum right here, or the website somalimuseum.com. And there's some interesting stuff. I mean, they have some exhibitions in November coming up this month, later this month. My friend lives in Minnesota. He told me that you have to visit, so I want to maybe visit and you know, there's some nice stuff here, and you can support the museum also. So they have community involvement. You can give money. You can help with the volunteering. You can volunteer at the museum also. So it looks. Yeah, go ahead, Liliana. Of course.
Because I know that you are young.
Yeah.
So if the museum doesn't have some technology topics or in what you are interested in, will you visit it or not?
Yeah, I think I will, you know, because if I'm in Minneapolis for something else already, if I'm there to see my friends or something, then I would have no problems. I would love to visit and see what they have, but
only history. You would like to see only history?
yeah, I don't know. I studied history. I'm kind of weird because a lot of young people don't study history, but I studied history, so I have
you are interested to study it.
Exactly. I have a fascination with history. It was my major in college, so I studied biology and history, but I liked history more. So it was I always love to learn about different countries and cultures and those kinds of things. So yeah, they're doing a good job. I mean, the Somalian Museum, you know, there are other places, but this is a good museum, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome, guys. Well, did you guys have any questions about the articles or the article?
No.
Today. Everything is everything clear?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Awesome, guys. I wanted to make sure if you guys have any questions, you know, Alex, in the future, if you join any of my classes, more than welcome to. But let me know if I can help with in any way, questions you have, or you know. If you're confused by something, let me know. I'll do my best.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening.
Absolutely. You guys are very welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Liliana, Anatoly, Alex. Yeah. See you guys all later.
Goodbye.
Take care.
Yeah. Have a good day, guys. Take care. Bye-bye. Like if you're outside, you can't drive that well, or it's very, very wet. Yeah, so very heavy rain. And we have someone new in our class. Hey, Alex, how's it going?
Oh, I'm okay. How are you?
Good, good. Doing well, thanks. Where are you from, Alex?
I'm from Russia.
From Russia. Welcome, welcome. What part, if you don't mind me asking?
The city of Chelyabinsk.
Uh-huh. Is that in Western Russia?
For Russia, it's south.
Southern Russia. Okay, okay. Yeah, I don't know anything about Russia's geography. I'm very ignorant. I just know Moscow, St. Petersburg, Murmansk, Vladivostok. That's it.
Maybe you know this city because it has recently meteor fell down on our city.
Oh yeah, the thing it went. There was a big meteor that it broke some windows also, right? A lot of windows in the city were broken. Okay,
Yeah,
I do recall.
A huge explosion.
Yeah, I think initially people thought it was a missile, right? Then they realized it was just I mean, something natural caused it.
Yes, but our people have been arguing for this moment because some people think it was a missile because there were lots of reasons for thinking that, but some people have another idea.
Yeah, well, hopefully nothing like that happens again, Alex. It would be a terrible thing to have a repeat of, all that damage. So, thanks for joining, guys, all of you. I've seen most. Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I have a friend, a neighbor called Marugenia, and she told me that she watched some of your classes,
Uh-huh.
and maybe she wrote to you.
On Facebook, yeah, she did. She did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she said that she enjoyed watching your class, and she is learning a lot from you.
Oh,
So
that's
maybe
great.
in January she subscribed to Colingo again.
Great. No, fantastic. I'll be more than happy.
Because now she's afraid of speaking in class because she's
Really?
so yes.
Yeah.
Just, I prefer to wait and maybe I take advantage of the classes, watching them, and next year I'll join Colingo.
Sure. No, anytime she's ready, I'll be here. I'm not planning on leaving, Colingo, so I'll be around.
Good news.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Hey, Kwang, how's it going? Good to see you again.
Yes, I'm doing fine. Thank you. How are you,
Awesome.
Titi?
Things are great. Things are great. How's life in Vietnam? How's the weather right now? I mean, I know it's night, but
It's rain, cat and dog.
it's raining cats and dogs over there. Wow.
Yeah.
Do you guys usually get a lot of rain this time of the year? Is it also the rainy season in Vietnam, Kwang?
That's correct.
It is? Uh-huh.
It's going to end the rainy season now. It's going to rain, and before it's going to rain, it's rain cat and dog.
Yeah, when we say it's raining cats and dogs in English, it's a phrase that is used to. What does it mean, Kwang? If it's raining cats and dogs,
Heavy rain. It's heavy
yeah,
rain.
extremely heavy rain, right? Like the rain that you can't even really control. Students actually join within the first 10 minutes, so I'm gonna get started, guys. Today we're gonna be talking about articles. Articles may seem like an easy topic in English, but I was teaching this class yesterday, and there were a bunch of points that the students made that were very good points. And I had to really kind of look into some of those questions that they asked and figure out what the answers would be. There are many exceptions to the rules in English that we always kind of find when we learn English, and articles are no different. Articles are also a theme where you look at it and you think, yeah, okay, sounds easy, looks easy, but might not be necessarily as easy as we think, right? So as a result, if you guys have questions, please let me know during this class. And if there's something that I can't figure out, then I'll try my best to get back to you guys after I finish, after the class is over, because I don't want you guys to underestimate the difficulty of anything, really. Even if it seems easy, there could be confusing points. So we'll start with that then. Hey, Anatoly, how's it going?
Hello, hello. I'm fine, thank you.
Привет.
Привет.
I know what that means. I know one word, привет. Hello, right?
Yes, it is. It means hi. Not hello. Hello, more formal.
Привет is hi. That's awesome. One of my friends, he was from Russia, and he is from Russia. And because I'm a very funny person, usually with my friends, I used to always say to him, "Привет, товарищ." Привет, товарищ. because I was funny, it's a dumb thing. Is that how you pronounce it, товарищ, or is it товарищ?
Привет, товарищ.
Привет, товарищ. Okay. So for Kwang and Liliana, привет, товарищ means hello or hi, comrade.
Yes.
But I think товарищ is a very formal word.
Oh, it is? Okay, okay. Interesting. I used it because we see all these movies of, the Cold War movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and they have they have all the American actors acting in Russian, and they have very bad accents, you know. But I tried to learn some actual Russian from my friends. So great, welcome guys, welcome. So when we look at articles, right? Articles generally have, there's only three words that we're looking at. We're looking at the word the or the, depending on your pronunciation, and the word a and the word an, right? These are the only three words that we're going to look at. But the application of these words in different contexts in English, before certain words, before or when we use them in certain phrases, it can get confusing, right? So before we get to that, guys, the article also, today, the article that we'll talk about after we talk about articles, right? So we have articles as the grammar, and then we have an article later. That article, we will be looking at museums. A new museum opened up in the United States in Minneapolis, I think, was the name of the city. Minneapolis is close to where I am. It's kind of in the north of the country, very cold place. But what's interesting about Minneapolis is it has a very large African population, people from Somalia, actually. So the East African country of Somalia, many Somalian people have settled in Minneapolis, and their children, you know, are completely Americanized. They're born here, raised here. This museum is a link to these children, a link between these children and their culture. So it's the first Somalian American museum or Somalian historical museum in the United States. So people. Hey Liliana, how's it going?
Hi, Farhan. All is going good. And how's life?
Yeah,
How's
things are
Boston?
great. Things are great. It's a rainy day today, so kind of cloudy outside, kind of gray. But you know, besides that, things are pretty nice. Just the weather is not the best, but
Mhm. Here is the same. It's
it's
raining.
re- it's
It's
raining
raining
over
all
there.
day, and it's a little bit cold, cloudy. Not.
Yeah,
Yes.
it doesn't seem like, I don't know why, but it got really cold and really rainy the last few days here.
Yeah.
I don't know, suddenly.
Here too. Yes, because now we are in the rainy season, so we know that we have a lot of rains during this month. So it's normal here.